You're listening to Three Things to Know with Stephanie Haney, with experts and insiders on what you need to know in Northeast Ohio.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the Three Things to Know podcast. I'm Stephanie Haney, and I am proud to report that the podcast this week has really gone to the dogs, and I'm not mad about it. I will be talking today with a very interesting Clevelander. His name is Greg Murray of Greg Murray Photography, and he's got a brand new book coming out. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you can see it right beside me. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, of course, you can find it linked in the notes. But the book is called Peanut Butter Puppies, and it's a special treat. It's been featured on the Today Show, was also recently featured in People magazine, and it's 70 adorable puppies enjoying peanut butter, and it is everything that you would want it to be. I can promise you that. A little bit more about Greg. He is an award-winning lifestyle, commercial, and portrait animal photographer, and he's also active in animal rescue and advocacy for pit bulls. Specifically, we'll learn a little bit more from him about why he has such a soft spot for pit bulls in just a minute. And his work has been featured, as I said, on the Today Show and in People magazine, also in HuffPost, Daily Mail, Elle, and on WKYC a few times. Now, that's just to name a few of the places where you can find his work. He lives in Lakewood with his wife, Kristen, and their daughter, Evie, and two rescue pups, Leo and Kenzie. So we're going to hear all about Peanut Butter Puppies from Greg Murray. I'm going to bring him in right now. Let's say hello to Greg. Greg, thank you so much for joining me on the Three Things to Know podcast.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Stephanie.
It's great to have you here for a longer conversation. Previously, we had featured you as a good follow on the podcast. Now we've got something very exciting to talk about. You have a new book coming out, Peanut Butter Puppies. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Peanut Butter Puppies, it's my third book. It features 70 rescue puppies between the ages of 8 weeks and a year old enjoying peanut butter. And it's a follow-up to my first book, Peanut Butter Dogs. It's, what else can I say? You have it in your background right there. It's hardcover, 140 plus pages. There are over 130 color photos of the dogs enjoying peanut butter. And yeah, I'm just super excited. It's a great opportunity to bring a smile and some laughter to people, especially during the really unique times that we live in.
I will tell you, as a dog mom, one of my favorite things to do is capture my little pup, Harry Winston. He's not a pup. He's actually a little over 12 years old. But Harry Winston, the puggle, with a tongue out moment. One of those little licking the snout or whatever. So peanut butter, obviously. Perfect excuse for this to happen. Do you have a favorite photo in the book?
I do, and it's Bug, and Bug is on the cover of the book, with the blue background, top left corner, and it's just like a super happy photo. It sticks out to me as my favorite photo. I mean, I obviously love all the photos, but you know, there's always that one, and it's Bug.
It's a little Bug. What kind of a pup is Bug?
Yeah, he's just he's a lab mix mutt. And I, you know, honestly, I don't remember exactly how old he was at the time, but it's just one of those really happy photos, and I love it.
Well, there are many incredible photos in it. Obviously, they're very adorable, but I have to wonder, working with all these puppies over this period of time, the peanut butter, were there any wild mishaps you can tell us about during the shoot?
Yeah, you know, as far as anything specific, I don't know, but I mean, every shoot was kind of like a wild mishap. You know, they're puppies, they're running all over the place. It's chaos. It's dogs going to the bathroom everywhere in the studio. It's, you know, it's not being able to wrangle them in. It's fun. And yeah, all 70 shoots were kind of chaotic in their own fun way. And, but it, you know, as chaotic as it can be, I'm very patient. We have a good time. And you can't get upset with these dogs. They're just puppies, they're animals. There's lighting equipment everywhere, camera equipment. So you can't get upset. You just always have a good time.
Oh, sure. All those dogs in there, all those puppies, of course. So, you know, not exactly trained. All those smells, everyone's getting excited. We know how that goes. One of my best girlfriends, and also this has been a theme throughout, you know, everything that we've all been dealing with over the past year or so. Lots of people bringing puppies into the mix, and I remember those days. Certainly an adventure. Now, these are not just any puppies. You did mention these are rescue puppies, and you worked with multiple rescue groups in order to make this happen. How many rescue groups did you work with?
Correct. So I worked with rescue groups. I also worked with people that already adopted dogs. And then some of these dogs were also being fostered. So it's kind of three different areas. But as far as specific rescue groups that I work with that reached out to me when I did model calls, probably about a dozen or so. They said, hey, Greg, we have some dogs that you might like for the book. We'd be happy to bring them over. And yeah, so about a dozen. And again, a lot of the other dogs were already adopted. So I'd say out of the 70 dogs, they came from probably over 40 different rescue organizations around Ohio, and even one from Texas.
Oh, wow. One all
Yeah,
the way from Texas.
Yeah, this woman named Monica, she wanted to bring her dog up to be in the book, and she drove all the way up from Texas to have Eve be part of the book.
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky little Eve got a little doggy
Yeah.
road trip out of it. That's so great.
Yeah.
Do you know if any of the puppies are still available to adopt right now?
All the dogs have been adopted and are living in wonderful forever homes. So that's good news.
That is great news for those puppies, and bummer news for anyone who might have been
Yep.
inspired by a puppy in there. But there are lots of puppies, and
Yep.
apparently lots of rescue groups that people can, seek out if they want to adopt some puppies. So we can keep that in mind for sure. Now, rescue advocacy is just a part of your life in general. How did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so about 2012, I wanted to get more involved with photography, and I started volunteering with the Cleveland Animal Protective League, and as a volunteer photographer to help get dogs adopted. And rescue's been a part of my life since I was a child. I grew up with a dog from the Cleveland APL, actually, named Muffet, and so it's always been important. But when I started volunteering at the Cleveland APL about 10 years ago, I really got involved because I got to see these dogs on day in and day out, what they go through and the importance of finding them homes. So that made a real difference and kind of propelled me into being a very big advocate for rescues.
Now, your book officially comes out March 23rd, but it's been available for pre-order, and
Yep.
there is something special that you've been doing with your publisher as part of the pre-order. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my publisher is donating $1 for each pre-order made prior to the 23rd, up to $3,000. And we're going to split that, hopefully $3,000, among three different rescue organizations that adopted out dogs who were featured in the book. So we'll do a random drawing on the 23rd and pick three rescue organizations, and they'll split that money. I think we're at about 2,500 pre-orders so far. I'm pretty sure we'll reach that 3,000, and if we don't, I'll donate the rest of the money. And so we'll basically be giving out $1,000 to three different rescue organizations that could really use it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. Not only bringing joy to people, but also making sure these little puppies are taken care of.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, Peanut Butter Puppies, as you said, this is book number 3 for you. It's a sequel
Correct.
to your first book, Peanut Butter Dogs.
Yep.
Now, where did you come up with the idea? Why did you decide book 1, Peanut Butter Dogs?
Yeah, we had a Mastiff named Bailey, and I don't know how much you know about Mastiffs, but they kind of have droopy jowls and kind of look a little sad sometimes. So to photograph Bailey better, get her more animated, and this is, gosh, around 2013, 14, I'd give her peanut butter just to make her look happier. And I probably in 2015 or 16, I just started photographing a bunch of my clients' dogs with peanut butter, just do a fun photo series. And that went really well. The photos went viral. I decided to self-publish a book, do a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter went really well. Before the Kickstarter ended, a bunch of publishers reached out to me to sign a book deal. So I signed a book deal, and that's just kind of how all that, long story short, how all that happened. But Bailey, I dedicated my first book, Peanut Butter Dogs, to her. She's how this all started.
I'm very familiar with the facial expressions of the Mastiffs. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've heard this, but Puggles, as I said, my dog is a
Yep.
Puggle. They call them mini Mastiffs because they kind of have a similar little disposition
Yep.
to their
Yep.
wrinkly little faces.
Yeah.
So how did you choose to specialize in pet photography to begin with?
Yeah, I first 10 years of my career outside of college was spent in human resources, so I wanted to do something different, went into photography, and I wanted to do a niche. I wanted to find a niche. I grew up with animals, and I talked to my girlfriend at the time, Kristen, now my wife, and I said, I really just want to be an animal photographer for the rest of my life. And we were like, well, let's give it 6 months and see how it goes. And it's been 7 years, and I just love working with animals. It's fun, and it's just chaotic. It's fun. It's happiness. It's not stressful. Sometimes I think when I work with just people, or back in the day when I was photographing only people, I just was stressed. I wasn't having as much fun as I thought I should be. And I figured animals would be the best way to do it. And it's just turned into a great career.
Well, I think you made a great choice with the peanut butter too, because I can tell you as a human, peanut butter makes me happy. So
yep.
Obviously it's working for the pets. You've now got 2 great books about this. Now you also have another book though,
yep,
about pit bulls, which you advocate for. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, so that's called Pit Bull Heroes, 49 Underdogs with Resilience and Heart, and that came out in 2019. 2018, I traveled the country photographing 49 very unique and amazing pit bull type dogs and sharing their stories. So the book contains their stories and a couple photos of each. And amazing dogs. One of the dogs I met in Utah was rescued from Michael Vick's property back in 2007 from the dog fighting ring. And this dog, who recently passed, but lived this great life in an animal sanctuary in Utah, lived out the rest of her life. And it was really neat to photograph her. And just some other amazing therapy dogs, service dogs that are pit bull type dogs. I'm a big advocate for those dogs. I live in Lakewood, Ohio. We had a ban here from 2008 to 2018 on pit bull type dogs. And to be part of, with so many other amazing people, to get rid of that ban and welcome all dogs to Lakewood, Ohio, was such a great feeling. And I don't like to play favorites, but pit bull type dogs, they're my favorite to photograph.
They are certainly very special, and you're doing great work to raise awareness about just what a sweet, sweet, special breed that can certainly be. All right, Greg, tell us, where can people get Peanut Butter Puppies and your other 2 books?
Yeah, so anywhere books are sold, so Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, pretty much everywhere. Your local bookstore, please check with them. You could go to other places like bookshop.org, which donates money to local bookstores. And locally, I know a place in Tremont, Visible Voice Books will be carrying Peanut Butter Puppies. So yeah, pretty much anywhere. You can go online and find it.
And we have to remind people, because the first time we talked about you here on the 3 Things to Know podcast, it was because you are such a good follow on Instagram, because you're sharing these photos. It really just brightens up the feed, definitely brings a smile to my face. So remind people, where can they follow you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, the Greg Murray, GregMurray.
Perfect. Greg, thank you so much for spending time with us here today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. I appreciate it.
I'm not kidding when I tell you that I absolutely fell in love with Greg's photography from his Instagram feed. So make sure you check that out. He really is a good follow. All right, keeping in the theme of what you need to know in the puppy space today, What You Need to Know in NEO is a great place where you can get special treats for your furry friend. I'm talking about 3 Dog Bakery in Ohio City. This is a bakery that offers natural foods, treats, and pet pastries, and they're all baked fresh right there in Ohio City. And something else that they offer, which is particularly cool, they offer these celebration cakes. You can get them in round shapes or bone shapes, and they're made of natural ingredients with yogurt frosting, which will be good for your puppy's sensitive tummy, because if we change up our dog's diets sometimes, that can lead to messes that our owners don't want to clean up, and I can vouch for that with personal experience. It comes in several different flavors. They've got peanut butter, vanilla, carrot cake, just to name a couple, and a little special way to celebrate your doggy's bark day, if you will. You can check out their website. It's 3dogbakerycle.com. It's in Ohio City at 2929 Detroit Avenue. That's right between West 29th and 32nd, and that's right across the street from Bop Stop. And if you do pop in there, by the way, you'll be greeted by the official bakery pups, Cappy and Ellie, which are the owner's French bulldogs. And now that brings us to a good follow for this week, and this one is highly entertaining. It's Snarky Pants Studios, and you can follow them on Instagram. It's Snarky Pants Studios, and their tagline is snarky stuff for snarky people. Now, I will warn you, it's mature, kind of. They do drop some F-bombs and there are cuss words in their stuff, but here's something that they're really well known for. They have these little achievement badges that they make for pets, and they talk about how truly pets are the MVP of this pandemic. Let's be real. They've been keeping us all sane, and we're going to be lost without them when we all go back to the offices, and they're going to be a little lost without us too when we all go back to the offices. That is another topic for a future podcast, which we will certainly talk about, because I will tell you what, here at Studio Stephanie, Harry Winston the Puggle has some separation anxiety. But anyway, off on a tangent there. Some of these cool little badges that Snarky Pants Studio makes are little badges that say rescued me, barked at a squirrel, took a bath, and sometimes that's a big undertaking and an accomplishment for the dog parents. I know you all know what I mean. So if you want to check them out, again, that's Snarky Pants Studios on Instagram, and they have an Etsy shop as well, etsy.com/shop/Snarky Pants Studios. I think you'll be highly entertained if you have a sense of humor where you don't take things too seriously. All right, that's it for this week's 3 Things to Know podcast. Thank you all for being a part of this and joining me here. If you like the show, I would really appreciate it if you would share it with your friends, subscribe, follow, depending on your platform, leave a rating and a review. That way it helps us connect with more people here in Northeast Ohio. I will see you all next week. Until then, everybody stay safe and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.
Thanks for listening to 3 Things to Know with Stephanie Haney from WKYC Studios. Subscribe now to stay in the know.